What's up, guys? Coming to you, talk to you about Luke Cage Season 2. So, I normally don't like doing videos on Sundays because, I got church and I just try to rest on Sundays. But I spent all weekend um, resting from a pulled hamstring. And so I was like, you know what? I finally got a chance to watch Luke Cage Season 2. And Iron Fist is coming out next week, or this weekend. So, I was like, I gotta get this done. I gotta get it out of the way. So it's very late in the game, but hey, whatever. It's new to me, so I hope you enjoy it. That being said, if you haven't watched Luke Cage season 2 or season 1, don't watch this. Go ahead and stop. Go watch it. Come back, and then let me know what you thought. I thought Luke Cage Season 1 was one of the best seasons that's been out so far, and I still hold that. As far as Season 2 goes, so I titled this The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. So I'll start with I'm going to go in reverse order. We'll start with the ugly, go to the bad, and then talk about the good. Did not enjoy how much awful language was in this series. I know it's Netflix and they want to go push the line, but it was difficult for me to get used to season 1 where they're using the B word over and over and over and over again. I was like, okay, it's a period piece. They're trying to get like a certain aspect of this culture that they're going into. I'll let it slide. But they pushed the envelope even further for this season, and I did not enjoy it. There's so much language. Luke Cage even cusses and doesn't seem to be bothered by it, whereas before, like, he's always using the dollar or the cursing bin, which I love. If my kids grow up and they curse, I'm gonna have one of those too, and they're gonna be paying in it. But hopefully they won't be doing that, But the one that really got me was when they were dropping the N-word. I was like, really? Like, I don't like listening to music that has the N-word in it. More or less, see it in a TV show that I'm watching. So I was very disappointed by that. I don't like the word at all. I just don't want to. I don't want to ever hear it. And so I'd rather them leave that out of it. If they put it in the music, I tolerate it. There's some videos that I've seen that use music that has the N-word in it, and I'm like, okay, like, do we have to choose this? But maybe there's a better way, than using this nasty word. I know that some people in the black community want to reclaim the word, make it theirs or whatever. I'm just like, whatever. I don't want to hear it. If I ever hear somebody say it, I'd probably, very much complain to them. But anyways, so that was probably the worst part of the series. I really, really hated the language. It was just too much. There was way too much. And thankfully, though, and if you haven't seen the show, this is spoilers. They're on now. Everybody who uses that word pretty much is dead at the end of the series. So, poetic justice right there. Luke Cage might have dropped it once or twice. I was like, really? Like, I know that Shades uses it once or twice. But the main offenders, especially, what's her face? Mariah. Hate that character. Hate her character. And maybe that's the purpose. Like, you're supposed to hate her, and you're supposed to hate the character. It's kind of like Umbridge from Harry Potter. Like, I love to hate that character. She is my least favorite character in there, but I love watching how awful she is. So it's similar with Mariah. But I was like, seriously, so much of the N-word, like, And so when all of these people who use it are dying, I was like, let's go. Like, there's some poetic justice there. You use awful language, you die. I'm not at all advocating for like killing people who use that N word. Freedom of speech and all, but I just don't like to hear it. So if you're ever around me, please keep your language to a minimum. I just don't like hearing it. I feel like if you can't portray your ideas in regular language, like perhaps you're need to learn. Maybe it's time for you to take English again. But I don't mean that in an offensive way. I know that there's some times where language might be acceptable. But anyways, okay, so I spent a whole half of this video talking about language. I didn't mean to do that, sorry. But I just really did not enjoy that. So, the bad parts. Oh, man. I wrote it down. I might as well look at it now. There was some racially charged things in here in this video, or this series. I don't know. They were always talking about, like, just being black made you this. I was like, come on, my brothers are black. Like, I've never looked down on them because they're black. And I'm not saying that all people, there's no racists out there, but come on. Like, people don't look bad at you just because you're black, It's 2018, whatever. Especially in the nerd community, like, we're accepting of all people. We might not always agree with the way you are. Like, I don't like people using the N-word and using bad language, but I still accept you. Whatever. You do you. Just so some of those things I was just like, well, okay, I'll accept it. And they did a little bit in the last one. I did find it ironic. I did like that some of that charge stuff was kind of portrayed in a negative light. Like, just grow up and work hard and do your best. There's not like this force out to get you anymore. As far as the government is concerned. And now I'm making it political. Didn't mean to make this political. Alright, so the good. There's a lot of good. So, Danny Rand, yes, please. Love that episode. Best episode of the series. Those two actors are so good together. So good together. Marvel, please give me Heroes for Hire with Luke Cage and Danny Rand. Please, yes, please. Get on it. Do it now. I want to see it. It's so good. They were dropping so many Heroes for Hire references in this show. I was like, man, it was so good. And then when Danny Rand and Luke Cage get to fight together, I geeked out. It was great. It was so good. Oh man, my knee hurts for some reason. Oh, that hurts. Don't know what I did. Anyways, wonderful. I just wish Danny would put his mask on. Like, dude, you're a billionaire or millionaire. I don't know. You got a lot of money. You need to cover your face so people don't know you're the Iron Fist, or they're gonna come and destroy everything you love. So that's my warning to you, Danny Rand. Put the mask on. That's what we want to see. Anyways, there was no references for him over in Hell's Kitchen, so that was weird. But whatever. I loved all the references. There's so many people who crossed over into this series. I know some people are going to hate me for this, but I was glad that Claire got out of the way for the series. It took a couple episodes, but I feel like her character really needed to distance herself from Luke Cage in order for him to grow. And boy, it worked well. Let's talk about that ending. There's so much I want to say about that. When he denies Claire at the end from entry, at first you're thinking it's Misty Knight or Mariah's daughter Tilda. Does anybody else think like Matilda? Anyways, I watched that show or that movie when I was a kid. Anyways, horrible movie if you really think about it as an adult. Anyways, um, you really think it's Tilda or Misty, but then you find out it's actually Claire that he's denying. That hit right in the feels. I was like, dude, this guy's changed. He's not the same dude anymore. And I think it's interesting. There's a huge interesting part that to develop in his character. Like now he's this great crime lord, basically, and he's gonna try his hand at that. But so I wondered, like, he's got to realize, like, this is how all major mob families start. They started with one guy trying to protect his neighborhood, and doing so through force because he didn't feel like the cops were able to. So, I mean, how did all the gangsters and the mafia and all them start? And back in the old days, like, the police didn't protect them, so they had to protect themselves from each other. And eventually, they just became crime lords. And what did Luke Cage do? He wants to protect his family, his people, and so what does he do it? He does it by force, by breaking in and making people do things the way he wants to, rather than stopping them from doing evil, just outright. Now he's become the enforcer, so I love it for story-wise. I don't like it for the character. That makes sense. So I think it's a really great development for the character, for him to turn away from him eventually. It'll be really interesting to see where he goes from there. But dude, like, you gotta realize what's going on. Anyways, some of my favorite quotes. When him and his dad are in there, and the people attack the church, and his dad is just like beating the mess out of this guy. He's like, dude, Dad, calm down. He's like, they shot my baby. He's like, dude, bullets bounce off, Dad. And he's like, I don't care. They shot my baby. And it's like, oh, that's so funny. That's so good. Oh man, I loved his dad in this season or this series. It was really good. Really good. So there was just as a Christian, and maybe you aren't a Christian, and you don't care much about these things. It was a little interesting to his character. He some things he said were very Christian, and other things he said really had nothing to do with Christianity at all. It's like, why would you even be talking about this? Like that has nothing to do with what's going on. So just some insight if you're not a Christian. There's some weird things that he said in there that I was like, that makes no sense. But anyways, overall, love the character. He's so funny, especially when they finally make up. And then my second favorite line was when Misty calls Mariah a cougar, and talks about Shades being her fawn. I was like, yes, she's like 20 years older than him. I was like, dude, like, that's weird. Some people are like, oh well, if a guy can be 20 years older than the girl, then it's okay for the girl to be 20 years older than the guy. I'm like, it's weird either way. Like, that's so weird. Super weird. I've seen people who can do it. Like, more power to you, but it is weird. It is not the norm. I'm just saying. I guess when you get much older, it's not that big a deal. I'm not that old yet, so it's weird to me. So you do you, whatever, if you're into that kind of thing, but I find it really weird. So either way, man, like a super old man with a young girl, that's super weird. Same thing with a super old lady. Well, the actress isn't super old. It's just 20 years older is a big difference. That's, a good portion of my life. difference. Anyways, okay, so I love that she called him a fawn and her a cougar. That was really funny. Um, yeah, so but I love the series otherwise. I loved all the references that they dropped. Heroes for Hire. Danny Rand. The episode with Danny Rand is my favorite. That's my favorite Luke Cage episode. Now, I will say, I didn't feel like there was that many. What's it called? Like stairwell scenes, like we've had in Daredevil and Iron Fist. We didn't really get one of those. Um, Although when the two of them were fighting in the drug farm, beautiful, beautiful. Especially when they punch each other and it causes a shockwave. I was like, that's a Hulk smash right there, you know. That was really great. He's like, I'm ready for it now. It's like, you better be. And then he's like, seriously, dude, like, is a dragon? Is it real? I was like, too good, too good. He's like, you accept that your superpower, your got super strength, but you don't accept that there's a dragon. He's like, nope. Oh, it's good. It's good. So I highly recommend the series. It's really good. Really, again, the only thing I'd say it's not really for kids. Not good for kids. The reveal with Mariah and her daughter was excellent. That was so good. I think the episode is For Pete's Sake. Just excellent. Just excellent. Really heart wrenching. You really feel for Mariah and for Tilda, but then like you just like these are real. These things happen, which is really awful. I hate that people have to go through this. And it's how you. It's not where you come from that defines you. It's what you do with what you have. I'm actually playing this Harry Potter game, and it quotes Dumbledore. It says it's not our abilities that define who we are; it's our choices. And I think that's pretty true. Like, it's not where you come from. It's not what you're given at birth. It's not, what you're born into. It's how you act. It's the choices you make as a person that really defines you. So, I think the first season was all about what it means to be a man. And you have these two distinct factors of what manhood is. You have Luke Cage's, which is being a hero, being protecting people, and then you have Cottonmouth, who is a gangster, and it's okay to rebel against the law. It's okay to do whatever you want to. It's all about getting the money, getting everything all the worldly pleasures. Whereas Luke Cage kind of resists all that to for the better good, and so you kind of have that battle going on. And this one, it's a lot different. It's all about how you deal with anger and how you deal with your past. And you see that in Mariah. You see that in Bushmaster. You see that in Luke Cage. You see that in Claire. Defining who you are and making that and striving to be better than where you came from. So Luke Cage, he's got a troubled, tattered past because of his father, but he strives to be a better man than his father. Have Mariah, who just went through all sorts of awful things, and she's just trying to be better than her family was. You have Shade, same thing. Like, he's done all sorts of awful things, but now he has a vision of like, hey, like, there's something better than what I'm doing. And same with you see that with what's the guy's name? Shade's best friend. I forget his name. And then you have like Sugar, who's kind of led to do that. Claire, trying to figure out who she is and be a better person despite all that's going on around her. And Bushmaster, he's just really good. Taking what you have and trying to make it better. Trying to be the better man. And I love it. It's a really great message. But again, show's not really for young kids. There's a lot of awful language in it. There's not as many sex scenes as in the first season, so that's good. They got, I like that better. 'Cause like, I want to pass on my uh, nerdiness to the next generation of people, and I don't want them to have to hear that kind of language. I don't want them to see those kinds of scenes, and I don't really want to hear or see those things either. So I'd rather them not be in there. But it is the nature of the beast at the moment. So thankfully, some of the others are a little bit cleaner, which is nice. And yeah, so thumbs up. Really great series. Loved it. It was so much fun. Can't emphasize enough how much I love Danny Rand and his episode, and that's what I thought. So this is much longer than I thought it was going to be, but let me know what you thought in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And did you love this show? Did you hate the show? How does it rank in the other seasons of Netflix so far? And I will catch you next time. Peace.